March has come and gone, and Netflix is springing into the season with almost 40 Netflix originals for April. This month, you can leave the world behind with the Lost in Space reboot, take an emotional ride through the midnight streets of LA with 6 Balloons, and journey into the ancient past with Troy, Fall of a City. We'll also see new episodes of ongoing talk shows like The Joe McHale Show and My Next Guest Needs No Introduction with David Letterman. There's going to be something for even the pickiest viewer on Netflix this April, so let's take a look at everything hitting the streaming service, starting with the Netflix originals. Amateur. In Amateur, 14-year-old Tehran Forte is a natural at basketball, but skill alone won't be enough when he's transferred to a prestigious new school. With the odds stacked against him, Tehran will have to push harder than ever to live his dream of being a basketball star. In life, there are no free throws. Shoot for the hoop when Amateur arrives on April 6th. Fastest Car, Season 1. Like it says on the box, this upcoming series is all about finding the fastest car. In each episode, a high-ticket supercar will race a handful of souped-up junkers to see whether money or hometown know-how is better at reaching the checkered flag. Described as sleeper cars in Netflix series description, these secret speedsters could be anything from an '84 Honda to a minivan. But they've all been turbocharged, gas-injected, and other car phrases to match the likes of Porsches and Ferraris on the tarmac. Season 1 races onto Netflix on April 6th. Money Heist, Part 2. If you haven't yet tuned into Money Heist, you don't know what you're missing. Despite its silly, satirical-sounding name, Money Heist is a legitimately riveting crime drama about 9 thieves attempting to pull off the world's largest heist, break into the Spanish Royal Mint, and print off more than 2 billion euros. While the entire series aired in Spain in 2017, Netflix split the season into 2 parts for its US audience, just because they can. You can catch the second part of Money Heist on April 6th. Orbiter 9. This Spanish sci-fi drama opens on a young girl in an interstellar space pod on her way to a distant planet. When her pod docks at a space station for maintenance work, she falls in love with the tech guy, one of the first humans she's ever met, and quickly finds out that she doesn't know the whole truth about her perilous journey. Take the ride when Orbiter 9 launches on April 6th. The Fourth Company. This film swept Mexico's Ariel Awards and was reportedly on the short list for Best Foreign Language Film at the 89th Academy Awards before it was dropped from the list. The Fourth Company is based on the true story of a prison football team that moonlighted as a violent enforcement gang on one of Mexico's most notorious penitentiaries. To preserve the sense of realism, the filmmakers decided to take the production inside the actual prison and use real inmates as extras. It doesn't get any closer to home than that, and you can experience the whole wild story on April 6th. 6 Balloons. Starring Dave Franco and Abby Jacobson, 6 Balloons details a harrowing night in Los Angeles as a woman desperately tries to find a detox center for her heroin-addicted brother. Complicating their search is the man's 2-year-old daughter, who's along for the ride. Early reviews of this South by Southwest entry have praised the film's riveting portrayal of addiction, including the emotional addiction of a sister who can't bring herself to break away from the brother destroying her life. Take the ride on April 6. Ram Dass, Going Home. Ram Dass was one of the 1970s most outspoken counterculture gurus, an acid philosopher who toured the country giving lectures on the nature of consciousness and life. Now, a little morbidly, Netflix is documenting Ram Dass's final days with Ram Dass Going Home, a conversation with the 86-year-old guru as he awaits the end at his home in Hawaii. Ram Dass Going Home will be released on April 6th. Troy, Fall of a City. It's literally the oldest story in Western literature, and we still can't get enough of the tale of Troy. This Netflix miniseries focuses on the love affair between Paris and Helen of Troy and the advent of the Trojan War. You know, everything that happened in the Brad Pitt movie, but with probably a lot more drama and a lot less neck-stabbing. Troy, Fall of a City has already premiered on BBC One to mixed reviews. There's still plenty of time for the series to pick up steam, but, I mean, you already know how it's going to end. People knew how it was going to end 800 years ago. Anyway, check it out on April 6th. Amo, Season 1. Making Netflix's first Filipino series, Amo is a 12-part miniseries about the Philippine government's war on drug trafficking. The limited series was created by Brillante Mendoza, who previously took home the award for Best Director at the 2009 Cannes Film Festival for his film Charité. Amo looks like another thrilling entry in Mendoza's filmography of gritty, hard-hitting dramas. Look for it on April 9th. Lost in Space, Season 1. The Lost in Space of the 60s is undoubtedly a classic, but man, is it cheesy. Full of cardboard sets and robots made from the same plastic as hula hoops, it was still groundbreaking for its time, and the Robinson family were everybody's favorite Saturday night heroes.
There's no longer a Will Robinson. I am now a useful cog in the vast, all-powerful mechanism.
Don't talk like that, Will. We'll help you.
Is the Netflix remake going to carry the torch and delve into all of the insane sci-fi shenanigans and moral conundrums that elevated the original past its shoddy, budget-deprived special effects? Who knows? It has cool robots and a young hip cast, so there's that. At this point, all we can do is wait until April 13th to find out. Chef's Table, Pastry, Season 1. A spin-off of the series Chef's Table, this show focuses on pastry chefs and their culinary delights. A restaurant that only serves dessert? Why not? Exotic ice cream bars? You bet. Deep-fried candy? Marry me. If your mouth is already watering, make a reservation for Season 1 of Chef's Table Pastry on April 13th. Come Sunday. Starring Chiwetel Ejiofor and Jason Segel, Come Sunday tells the surprising true story of Carlton Pearson, a bishop who was literally dubbed a heretic after he started preaching that there was no such thing as a fiery afterlife. Should be a fun ride. Look for it on April 13th. Charité, Season 1. This award-winning German historical drama centers on a hospital in Berlin in the late 1800s. The series focuses on the doctors of Charité Hospital as they try to deal with seemingly incurable diseases in a rapidly changing political climate. Tune in for Season 1 on April 19th. Mercury 13. Back in the heyday of space exploration, NASA put a lot of emphasis on finding the right astronauts to be the first humans in space. 7 men were chosen to fly for the Mercury program in the early 60s, but NASA also trained 13 women for the same program. Even though they performed just as well in training, this group, dubbed the Mercury 13, never flew on a single space mission. Netflix's Mercury 13 documentary looks at those forgotten women and explores the reasons they didn't get the privilege of being among the first people in space. Climb aboard when the documentary premieres on April 20th. Dope, Season 2. Netflix's drug war documentary series Dope landed in December 2017 and immediately pulled in a strong viewership. The series looks at the drug issues from the perspectives of buyers, sellers, and law enforcement. Whether you're a fan of the series or just now hearing about it, you can look forward to more of the same stories when Season 2 of Dope hits the market on April 20th, appropriately enough. Dude. Based on writer-director Olivia Milch's own high school experiences, Dude follows 4 girls in their last few weeks of school. Catherine Prescott, Lucy Hale, Alexandra Shipp, and Awkwafina star, and the film arrives on Netflix on April 20th. Kodachrome. In Netflix's upcoming Kodachrome, Ed Harris and Jason Sudeikis star as a father and son who set off on a road trip to find the last Kodachrome processing lab. It ought to be a real nostalgia-fueled trip into memory lane for all those old-school photography buffs out there. Look for it on April 20th. The Letdown, Season 1. Although it already aired in Australia in 2017, The Letdown will be making its way to American audiences this April. The comedy series focuses on Audrey, a young mom trying to balance her life and relationships without going crazy. Season 1 lands on April 21st. Psychokinesis. From Yeon Song-ho, director of Train to Busan, Psychokinesis is a Korean supernatural action thriller about a man who suddenly discovers that he has telekinetic powers. But after using his newfound abilities to help his daughter, he finds himself in the crosshairs of an unexpected threat. Whether you're a fan of Asian thrillers or just love a good action movie, Psychokinesis looks like a film to check out. Look for it on April 25th. The Week of. The latest product of Adam Sandler's ongoing deal with Netflix is The Week of, a comedy about 2 parents during the week leading up to their kids getting married. Sandler stars, along with Chris Rock.
I'm just saying, AC would be great. You say it and we'll turn it on. I said it.
Get ready for all the awkward conversations and ridiculous situations your brain can stand when The Week of arrives on April 27th. The Rachel Divide. You may remember Rachel Dolezal from her many news appearances in 2015. As president of the Spokane branch of the NAACP, Dolezal claimed to be African American, but it turned out she was actually white. Dolezal subsequently resigned from her position and faced a media backlash. Now, she's entering the spotlight again as the subject of the Netflix documentary The Rachel Divide. Tune in for all the riveting plot twists on April 27th. Bobby Kennedy for president. If you've ever been curious about 1960s politics, Netflix has you covered this April.
It's a statistical fact that Netflix releases 54 lengthy, highbrow documentaries every day. And some people find it hard to keep up, like this idiot.
Bobby Kennedy for President will look into Senator Kennedy's 1968 presidential campaign and its tragic end when he was assassinated in a hotel kitchen. Cue it up on April 27th. 3%, Season 2. As one of the most highly acclaimed Brazilian shows in Netflix history, 3% is definitely one of those shows you need to watch. And with the second season due out soon, there's never been a better time to get started. The first season set the stage for a futuristic world where our planet is devastated by poverty and hunger. But a lucky 3% of the population gets the chance to live a better life free from the struggles of the masses. Where Season 2 will take us is anyone's guess. Find out on April 27th. The New Legends of Monkey, Season 1. Back in the 70s, there was a weird little Japanese show called Monkey. It was about a magical monkey warrior who traveled the land battling monsters and demons. And it had the best theme song ever. The New Legends of Monkey is a remake of that old show, and it follows basically the same premise. Monkey leads his band of misfit warriors across ancient China, learning valuable lessons while they kung fu demons. Should be a good old time. Check it out on April 27th. Original stand-up comedy. April will see a solid collection of new stand-up comedy routines hitting the streaming service. French comedian Ferry is showing up with his new special Ferry is the New Black on April 3rd, followed by Greg Davies' You Magnificent Beast on April 10th, and Kevin James' Never Don't Give Up on April 24th. That does it for all the Netflix originals. Now, here are all the other films and TV shows arriving on the streaming service in April 2018. New movies. April is bringing the big guns on the action front, along with plenty of robots, sharks, and magical karate.
Those are $500 sunglasses, asshole.
Mortal Kombat, Deep Blue Sea, and Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines show up on the 1st, as well as Bad Boys and Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. You can also expect a whole lot of emotional, character-driven dramas, such as Cold Mountain, Friday Night Lights, Life is Beautiful, and Scarface, all of which arrive on the 1st.
Say hello to my little friend!
Later releases in the month aren't toning down the drama, with the Will Smith-led 7 Pounds on the 15th, Chasing the Dragon on the 19th, and The Man Who Knew Infinity on the 27th. On the flip side, only 4 new comedy films are being added in April. Along Came Polly and Jackass 2.5 are coming on the 1st, along with The Lost Boys. That's a comedy, right?
You're mine!
Similarly, the new documentary selection in April will be slim pickings. On the 1st, Netflix is adding Big Time, an expose on the Danish architect Bjarke Ingels, and Fish People, a sweeping look at people who spend most of their lives in the ocean. On the 5th, you can check out Behind the Curtain, Todrick Hall, followed by the 2017 documentary Bill Nye Science Guy on the 25th. For family fare, we'll be getting Cats and Dogs, Looney Tunes Back in Action, and both Flintstones films. And those aren't even the highlights for family movies on April 1st. That honor goes to The Iron Giant, the single most emotionally scarring animated movie of all time. Also, the kids are bound to love the addition of Despicable Me 3 on April 5th. But the family fun has to end sometime, so after you're done crying your eyes out at The Iron Giant, lighten the mood with 7 or the original Cabin Fever. Both of those arrive on the 1st, alongside the 2009 Cabin Fever sequel and the vampire schlockfest Queen of the Damned. New television. Netflix truly saved the month for its original content this April, and as such, we only have 2 new TV shows premiering throughout the month. On April 2nd, La Piloto Season 1 hits the airwaves, and on the 24th, you can catch up on Call the Midwife Series 6, Christmas Special 2017, which is full of the holiday cheer of nurses, midwives, and birthing babies. Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.